Welcome back to the channel. I'm JB,
I'm Nada.
and we just went to go see One of Them Days. So, let's
Let's
talk
talk
about
about
it.
it.
So, this movie was directed by Lawrence Lamont, and one of the producers was Issa Rae.
Yes.
So, shout out to Issa Rae.
Issa.
Yeah.
Starring Keke Palmer as Dreux and SZA as Alyssa. Main premise of the movie is just two best friends living in LA. And they go on a lot of little adventures, a lot of shenanigans going on.
Yeah.
Because they got to get their rent paid by a certain amount of time, or they're gonna get evicted. Okay. And you just kind of see the difficulty that they go through trying to get their rent paid, and it just turns out to be one of them
crazy days.
Okay. Yeah. We also got to shout out Monica for Don't Take It Personal. I know you don't know the song, but one of them days. Okay, that's where the name of it came from, so we got to shout Monica out too. Okay, so out of the theater, tell me, what are your thoughts? How you feeling about the movie?
I feel great about this movie, y'all. It was fun. It was a good comedy, and you know, I don't know about y'all, but I feel like comedies are kind of hard to land sometimes.
They are.
The comedies don't really come out very often, and when they do, you know, sometimes they don't really hit. Comedy's subjective, so some people think it's funny, some people don't. This was pretty good. We felt the laughs, we felt the vibes. It was lighthearted, it was fun. It was a good like date night film. It was really good.
Date night, I think you go see this with your girls.
Yeah, not just date night, but like you can see it by yourself, see it with your friends, see it with your whoever you with. It's great. It was a good one.
Very, very funny.
Yeah, it was good.
I agree with what you're saying. Like, it's not a lot of good comedies out right now. You don't see them. They be like missing the mark. And I don't know. I was here for all the vibes. Shouting out just like Black culture, LA culture, like all of that. You feel it, right? You feel it when you're watching it. And you expected to see that with Issa Rae being involved. Like, you are going to see that come through in the film. And you do. Like, jokes land. A lot of people are calling it like the Friday of this generation. And I'm feeling it.
It does feel Friday. It does feel Friday. It's got this kind of like, not classic kind of feel, but just like culturally aware, you know? And I don't know, it was just fun. Like I said, the jokes were good, and
which I'm thankful for. Like, it wasn't corny.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Corny. Sometimes you get some of these comedy films, and no, it's very, very corny. Jokes aren't laughing. It's like y'all just doing this for no reason type stuff. And this was not like that. I was so happy. And
one thing I was really happy about, y'all, this movie wasn't 2.5 hours. It was only about an hour and a half. It's short. We're here for a good time, not a long time.
It did not overstay.
That's great. It was great. It was perfect, just as long as it needed to be. It ended when it needed to. A couple of jokes, like I feel like maybe they didn't need like a couple things, but those were small nitpicks. But like overall, this was a good film. It was fun.
Yeah, I can think of like one plot, like storyline that maybe you didn't even need at all. And we can talk about that in the spoilers, so stay tuned for that. But overall, I feel like no, y'all did what y'all were supposed to do.
Yeah. Definitely. And the people showed out, y'all. When we went to the theater last night,
it was packed. I was so happy.
It was packed last night.
Like, I love everybody involved in it. Cat Williams makes an appearance in it.
Yeah, he has a good role as well.
So I just wanted it to like thrive, and it did everything it needed to do. So I have zero complaints about One of Them Days. You should definitely go see it. Take your friends, take your man, take your girl, take whoever. It's worth it. So here's our spoiler warning. If you do not want to know what happens play by play in the movie, stop right now. Leave the review. Come back later if you just want to hear our point. Okay? But spoiler alert. It starts off with Drew. She's at work. Zoom in, you can see baby girl's been doing her thing, right? She employee of the month and stuff right off the bat. And she's very in control, like, of the situation, right?
She knows like the customers that come in. She's really good with everybody in there, and you know, she's employee of the month. She great.
Yeah. So she's working, she gets off from work, and then we get introduced to Alyssa, her best friend. She comes pick her up.
Right.
So after that, they go home, and you kind of get to see like the area they live in. What do they call it?
They call it the jungle.
The jungle.
The jungle, yeah.
So you got to see where they live and all the different little dynamics in there. So somebody, they called her Mama Ruth, had like a whole little convenience store
in her apartment.
In her apartment, like fridge and all. Like go in there, people coming in there to shop and stuff. So Mama Ruth has that. There's a braider set up outside in the little courtyard area. So you get the vibe of the LA vibe of like the apartment complex.
And you kind of get the sense of like what her neighbors are like. You know, like around the apartment complex.
Yeah, because they start to show everybody. Important part at the beginning there is while she's in the convenience store, Dreux is in the convenience store, her love interest shows up, and they call him Maniac.
Maniac, yeah, that's his name.
And he's supposed to be like kind of mysterious, kind of like, is he violent? Is he criminal? I don't know.
You don't know what's his background, right?
Yeah. But she's so pressed over this man. It's very funny. But get back to the apartment, and you see stuff is thrown around everywhere.
And the apartment is like all over the place. So like the heat don't work, the water don't work.
Ceiling falling.
The ceiling, there's like holes in the ceiling that's falling down. It's messy everywhere. Yeah, it's bad.
And one of the reasons it's messy is because Alyssa's boyfriend, Keyshawn, lives there. He has moved in. He was supposed to be there for like 6 weeks, and it's been 6 months, and the man ain't left. Homeless. Watch out, ladies. They just moving in, okay?
And they play a lot throughout the film about him being
homeless and not having a place to stay.
Not having no house, yeah.
So Dreux is talking to Alyssa. She's tired of this. Like, he need to go, yada, yada. But they try to leave it alone. He come out. He got her robe on.
He was wearing her robe, yeah.
Wearing Drew's robe, this little bitty robe. And we like, why is she with this dude? Took the robe off, we found her.
Yeah. Okay.
We see why she stayed with him. Anyway. So Dreux is like, it had to be said.
Okay.
Mesmerized. So Dreux is trying to get some sleep because she works the night shift. Trying to get some sleep. What she hear when she finally lay down?
Knock at the door, right? So it's the property manager, the landlord.
And he comes in, he like, basically, look, I need my rent. She like, we already paid you.
Right, so she gave the money to Alyssa. And Alyssa was supposed to pay him. Well, she goes back to Alyssa and like,
what did you do?
What'd you do with the money? She's like, oh, I gave it to Keyshawn. And Keyshawn was supposed to pay the landlord for the rent.
Keyshawn.
So immediately we're looking for him. They start calling his phone. They find a burner phone in the bedroom, like, where he at? He was out.
He left the apartment. So break into the phone, and they see Keyshawn met up with somebody named Big Booty Bernice. So I'm like, okay, not Bernice.
Yeah.
That was
Bernice
fitting. Meet up with Big Booty Bernice. So they're like, okay, we about to go over there to get the rent money from him. Like, see what he did with the rent money. They come up with this whole little scheme where Dreux is going to distract Bernice while Alyssa climbs through the window and gets the money from him.
Yeah.
Without Bernice knowing that, like, she was in there talking to him. And of course that goes like terribly
wrong. Yeah.
Like, no.
So yeah, eventually she goes back in the room. She finds Alyssa in there. They dip out.
Yes.
And
took off.
Yeah, they took off.
Bernice took off though.
So there is a scene where she was running. It looked like she was a track star for real, because
like hands like this, like and
hands
everything.
Up. I was like, oh, she.
You know what it reminded me of? Okay, this is a little bit of a rip. It reminded me of White Chicks. You knew it.
Say that. I knew she was gonna say that, y'all. I knew she was gonna say that, y'all. I knew it.
When he took off after the dude that stole the purse,
yeah.
and he was up.
I knew she was
Bernice
gonna say that,
took off just like that.
She did. She did. Because there was like aggression in her eyes. Like she was.
Okay, she was
moving.
She was locked in.
Moving.
So she took off after them, but somebody comes and opens up a truck door.
And she runs into the door.
Smashed right into the door.
So at this point, Alyssa and Dreux get away. But, you know, if she hits the door, everybody outside laughing.
They recording it on their phones and stuff like that.
So So Bernice is really upset because she like, okay, well, now they embarrassed me. I'm finna get them back. So she basically spends the film tracking them down.
Yes, like that's kind of her role. You realize, okay, she's gonna be going after them the whole time.
Yeah.
But so now they got Bernice. They got to get the money, the rent money by 6 o'clock. And something else that's kind of going along at the same time is Dreux has a really important interview at 4. So like we talked about how good she was at her job and stuff like that. She really wants to be a franchise manager. And so she has this interview.
And remember, this movie takes place all in just one day. So periodically through the movie, you see like 6 hours till eviction, 5 hours, 4 hours till eviction. So remember, they got to get the rent by 6. She has an interview at 4. Right.
So first thing is they're like, okay, let's go get the money. And the first place that they try to go get the money is at the payday loan.
They go to a payday loan place. Y'all know payday loan places. So it was, it was kind of stereotyped.
It was given. But
it was funny though. So they go into the payday loan place. The lady that's helping them, she was super
Hold up, wait a minute. Cat Williams is outside.
Right. So Cat Williams is like a homeless person. He plays
somebody named Lucky.
Yeah, he plays a homeless person outside of the payday loan place, trying to warn people not go. Don't go in there. Don't take the loan.
Don't sign it.
Yeah. Like he says something like look what happened to me. Don't let that happen to you. And he like homeless outside. So they still go in anyway. They speak to a lady about getting a loan. So on the window, they ask about the interest rate. The interest rate,
and we already peeped it.
Yeah, like they didn't show it initially, but we see it in like a background. The interest rate was 1,900%. Okay, I was like,
excuse me.
Okay, I'm over here. I was trying to do the math. I was like, wait, is that like $100 loan means I owe $9,000? Or I don't know. Like it just. I was trying to do the math. I'm like, why is there a establishment that even has this?
This is a scam.
Yeah, it's clearly
obviously.
They even have a lot of people who are delinquent on the loans.
And like they have their pictures all up on the wall and stuff like, we gonna find you. We gonna get our money back from you.
Yeah.
But so they're trying to get this loan. The lady's like, oh, well, I need to run your credit to try and get you the loan. Alyssa don't have no credit. She's a painter. She don't really have no income. But Dreux is like, oh, I work at a diner, yada, yada. Baby, they run her credit.
Yeah, her credit score was 122.
122.
I was like, I ain't never seen
in my life.
Nobody, no 122.
Maybe 3, 4.
I seen
122.
Yeah. No.
Nah, baby, go ahead, get this job so you can do something with your life.
So as soon as the loan person helped him, she just
dying.
She
never seen a credit score this low.
But she
like
laughed
bugging
out the building. They was like, she was like, y'all not finna get no loan.
No. So okay, payday place. That's the first way to try to get the money.
Nope.
The next place they go to is a blood bank.
So then they think, man, we're gonna sell some blood and get some money that way. They go to
it like $75 a bag?
Yeah, which really ain't that much money. Like that's not
really
that much.
Not. They needed like $1,500 for that.
No, yeah, that's literally not. They would need more than 15 bags. That's no. So
yeah,
no.
They try to do that. You run into like this really funny character that's the woman that's taking her blood. She used to be a stripper. She don't know what she doing.
She don't know what she's doing. She pricking her arm multiple places. No.
So Dreux sits down to give blood first. And she's like, oh, it'll take 30 minutes to do. So Alyssa goes off and Dreux is sitting down to give blood. But then she asks like, oh, if I give more blood,
do I get more
money? And the lady like,
they're like, yeah. And she like, shoot, I need more money. Well, Alyssa go in the other room. She like a waiting room, like a lobby. Yeah. She falls asleep in a chair. So an hour, I think a little bit more than an hour has passed. She come back in there and Dreux is like completely like pale. Like lost all color in her face.
Like she can't
walk.
See straight. She can't walk.
It's terrible.
It is. And so the Alyssa's like, you got to get this up off of her. And her and the woman, stripper Ruby,
rushing to pull out the needle. Rushing to pull it out. Blood starts spurting everywhere. Then they fighting over the needle, and then they end up
stepping on the bag of blood.
So then they spill all the blood, and then the attendant says, "Well, now,
no blood, no money.
Right.
But we will give you some vouchers for a free apple pie at Church's Chicken."
Vouchers for apple pie.
That's what they walk away with, and some random clothes that they found in a bin outside. So they're walking around like, okay, we gotta figure out what to do, but first we need to get some food. I mean, baby girl has just given all her blood away.
All her blood, right.
So they walk to Church's Chicken.
And of course, they walk to Church's Chicken, and there's a sign on the door that said the pipes are busted, so you can't go inside.
So you can't go inside, so you gotta use the
drive-through.
So they're walking around literally in the drive-through.
Right, since their car was stolen before,
yes,
they walk through the drive-through like walk on foot.
Ordered a little apple pies. They wanted to get some type of biscuit, something. I can't even remember what it was.
I don't remember what it was.
Don't they have them little strawberry biscuits?
Those are actually good. We tried one before.
Okay.
That was good.
They switch what they want, and as they ordering their food, the biscuit bandit, they call him, biscuit burglar?
Biscuit bandit.
Dude comes, and he's running in between the building and like your car. So snatch your food.
So like to set that up, essentially, when you come around the drive-thru after you order, you come up to the drive-thru to pick up your food where they hand it out. Like they give it out the window. There was a space big enough between the dude's window in his car and the window where they give you the food. So this dude passes, the attendant passes the food out. And then this dude runs through, grab the food and just run off somewhere. And took off somewhere.
So, and he's doing it to like everybody.
Everybody.
Like,
and so,
is he moving back around? Where is he
so I'm like,
at?
if there's a people in line, how the hell is he going back around, getting set up, getting a running start?
Did you eat this food first and then come back? Like, I don't know.
I don't know what he did.
He takes the food, and then Drew's little love interest pops up and basically
he happened to be in line getting some chicken.
Yeah.
So
he orders them some food. They get in. And you kind of see this like interest between them two start to develop a little bit. And Alyssa's in the back peeping game, like what's going on. She's like, I'm going to let y'all have that.
I'm going to see you later.
I'm going to go.
Yeah.
So they talk a little more. You hear a little bit about his past. Like he was in juvie, because I told you she was a little scared of the man. He was in juvie before.
She finds an axe in his car. And then immediately thinks, after he talked about, she associates that with him being a juvie, like, and his name is Maniac. So she already like, what has he been doing?
This man is a killer.
Right. So that was a weird tip off for her.
But so they both end up getting calls of like stuff that they had to do. Something came up for him, and then Alyssa calls, but Lucky Cat Williams is on the phone. And he's like, look, you need to come get your girl, okay? Because she's tripping.
Yeah.
So Maniac drops Drew off, and we see Alyssa is up on like electric pole,
yeah. Because there are some shoes,
some retro
Jordans that are on like a power line, essentially. She's using a broom on the pole, trying to knock them down, because she's trying to get money some other way. Because the blood didn't work, and they just got the food. So she like, look, these Jordans might be worth something. Let me knock them down.
So she's able to get them down. She gets electrocuted, and then she falls on top of Drew
and lands on Drew. Right.
Right. So they're like, okay, somebody called 911. They were in an ambulance, but of course they don't have no money to pay for the ambulance neither.
Right.
So they got out the ambulance, took off. The lady was like, we already have your information.
we know where to send your bill. Like,
so you might as well, because they thought it was going to be like $2,000.
Yeah. I don't know if it's actually that much money.
That sounds like a lot.
That's insane, bro.
I don't know, but they get out, they get away, but they have the shoes, okay? Something that's going on in the background of all of this is Big Booty Bernice and Keyshawn somehow keep figuring out like where they
went. So they're like on their trail. They followed them to the loan place, to the blood bank.
They followed them to Church's Chicken.
Yeah. So they like right on their tail.
Yeah. So they're trailing behind them. But so the next thing that they're trying to do is like sell the shoes, right?
Yeah.
So they sort of kind of clean them up, because they was dusty.
Yeah, that was dusty.
But they tell some story about whoever's shoes they are. Put a picture of them online, and they ended up getting an interested buyer.
And it was quick too. She posted on the app. She like selling them for $2,500. Dude said, "I'll meet you in the park. See you there." I was like, okay, well.
So I was a little skeptical.
Yeah.
I thought it was gonna be Big Booty Bernice and Keyshawn.
Like setting a trap for them.
Yeah, because she had been trying to catch them the whole time. But it actually wasn't. It ended up being
an actual
buyer. Lil
Rel, who turned, I was like, oh, I didn't know he was in this movie.
Me neither. I'd never seen like anything in the trailers about him.
Yeah, I totally didn't know. But essentially, he ends up buying the shoes, but he gives them like this sob story, and then he gets them to lower the price.
To lower the price.
So he lowered it, and then immediately was like, "Yep." He was like,
stop crying.
Stop crying. Change. He's like, "Cool, I'm going with that." And then he ends up paying them the money. So then they all happy. They got their $1,500. They got the rent or whatever. Cool. But they walking down the street. They got the money out.
All the money.
So they walking around, got the money flashing out. I'm like, and so I'm over here looking at this movie. I'm like, put the money away, bro. Like hundreds. Like
all of this stuff that's been happening to you.
I'm like, yeah,
put your money up. Because I just knew. If somebody can come run and take your apple pies and your biscuit from Church's Chicken, somebody's gonna run up and take your money.
Take your man.
So they get away and they realize, oh man, it's 3:30, something like that. By this point, she has her interview at 4. She don't have enough time to go home. She change her clothes. I told you she looked like a highlighted stripper.
Yeah.
She did. It was like mesh pants and stuff.
Yeah, it was bad.
So somehow they found like a blazer. I don't even know where they got.
I don't know where they got it from, but she was able to put that on. She went to the interview. She got there on time. She went to the interview and it went well. Like her momentum, things were starting to change. They really liked her.
They did.
She was really good for the role. They kind of had this like little click moment where her and the interviewer was like going back and forth, and it was really good. So at the same time,
feel like, sis, you
might be good for this role.
Might be getting this job.
And so you sort of see like a silver lining. You think things are going to come up because they've been bad at this point. So Alyssa is outside of the building where Alyssa is outside of the building where Dreux is having the interview. So Alyssa's just kind of waiting outside, but Keyshawn keeps texting her. So in order to like make him jealous, I think.
Yes, it was to make him jealous.
Okay, in order to make him jealous,
why would that man be jealous?
in order to make him jealous, she sends him a picture of her with like this guy at this concession stand,
selling fruit at a cart.
Yeah,
it wasn't like the man was fine and sexy and nothing like that.
No, it was just a random.
How was that gonna make him jealous?
It was a random dude.
She like, let's send this to him. So she sends it to him, and
he's with Bernice.
Yes.
So Bernice sees a picture, knows exactly where they at.
So she pulls up.
So she shows up at the building while Drew's interview is ending. So her interview is ending. She confronts Alyssa outside, and they have large glass windows, so everybody can see everything. So then Bernice started throwing hands. They start fighting outside.
She's dragging.
Yeah, she was dragging her though.
Alyssa.
And
Alyssa's like, Dreux, come help me. And Dreux in there trying to act like she don't know who anybody is.
Are you with them?
It was definitely giving Keke Palmer. I don't know this man. It was giving that, okay? She like, yeah, I don't know her, but she calling her by name. So she looked at the interviewer and was like, I'm sorry. Takes the blazer off, see the full outfit, and she run out there to try to help her friend, and also gets dragged.
Yeah, she also tried to fight too. They both lost. So at this point, they lost the fight. Bernice feels like she got her lick back or whatever, but then she still takes the rent money.
Yes.
So they lose the rent money
all
too.
On the ground. She picked the money up and lose the rent money.
So now at this, Keke Palmer or Dreux doesn't have the interview. Nope.
Because that's gone.
Nope. She don't have the rent money. So it's like what we got at this point, like, and then they just sort of start arguing.
Yeah.
With each other about like all the stuff that's happened up to this point, because Alyssa really did make some bad decisions.
She did, and
she made a lot of bad decisions.
Like Dreux is like, man, how did she even know? And she like,
it's like, I might have sent her about picture. And I'm like, why would you even do that? Like, why?
They literally have been trying to track you down the whole time.
Yeah,
and
I don't know why.
it. But
yeah,
sends him the picture. They start fighting it like dumb with each other.
Yeah.
But they live in the same place. So as they're storming off, they really just got on opposite sides of the street and walked back to the
Because they don't want to talk, but they live in the same place. So they go into the same place. Yeah. So eventually they walk home, because again, they don't have no car. They walk home, but then they get home. Okay, this part, y'all, was a little crazy because remember, the landlord said they had to be out by 6. Or sorry, they had to be...
They had to pay the rent by 6.
Get their rent paid by 6.
Yeah.
So when they show up, all of their stuff in their apartment, it's outside
on the street,
on the curb.
Sir.
So they walk up to him, and I don't remember exactly what time they said. They said like 6:02.
It was a little after 6.
Yeah, it was a little bit like after 6. So I was like, if you needed their rent and you were going to evict them at 6,
what time did you start taking my stuff
How did you get all of their stuff? And I'm not talking about like a lamp, some shoes, clothes.
Couches,
no, I'm talking
furniture, dresser.
2-person furniture. Couch, dresser.
All out.
The fridge was outside. I could have sworn that came with the apartment. But it was outside too. I'm like, dang, you.
No, he had to start doing it way earlier.
Yeah.
So they see all of that stuff out there. Uche, the property manager, is all like, hey, it is what it is. I told y'all to have my money. Mm-hmm. And she's like, look, this is illegal. It's still the 1st. We got till the end of the 1st to give you this money. Mm-hmm. So he agrees to extend it until 11:59.
And yeah, I could be wrong on this, but I could have sworn like rent gives you like a 2-day grace period sometimes.
Places do be giving grace periods, and you have to go through formal like things to be evicted.
Yeah, like I don't know if it's that. But just I mean,
okay, we overthinking.
Yeah, okay, my bad.
It's a movie.
I'm like grace period. All right, go ahead.
So yeah, they sad, depressed. They sitting on the couch.
Yeah,
and there's somebody who had just moved into the neighborhood that we didn't mention. Her name's Bethany.
Bethany, yeah.
Okay. And Bethany shows up at the beginning and she's all bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And she's so happy to be living in the jungle. Mm-hmm. And she's like, oh, this is so wonderful. Uche has welcomed her with open arms and brought her baked cookies and stuff like that. And so she's like, oh, you guys should come over. And they're like, yeah, girl, we'll come over later. Well, so she shows back up now and sees them out. And she's like, oh, are you guys having a yard sale?
She said, y'all having a yard sale? So,
they're like, yeah.
So remember, we mentioned that Alyssa was a painter. Mm-hmm. So Alyssa has all these paintings, but she don't believe that they any good and all that. Yeah. So Bethany comes up and she's like, hey, is this painting for sale? She's like,
Drew was like,
uh-huh. She's like, yeah.
Sure is.
Yeah, so she said, how much? And Drew like, $300. And so she said, oh, sold. Boom. Mm-hmm. And so she thinking, okay, so this was easy, $300. Let's sell all these paintings and make the rent back.
Mm-hmm. And then they find out that Bethany is like a brand manager as well. So she got some connections. Mm-hmm. So they go up into her apartment to talk a little bit more about like, oh, maybe we can do like a pop-up art show kind of event. Bethany is going to give us some connections. Mm-hmm. The community really comes together. So you see a lot of that. Mm-hmm. And they put string lights up and they put the furniture out. They make a flyer and stuff and send that out. So they come together for this art show. Mm-hmm. There's one other thing that we kind of left out, and I think it didn't. Small, but it is. I don't think it added to
the story.
Yeah. I think I mentioned before that there's like a plot line. So in the background, way back.
So y'all remember when we said that there was a pair of shoes, those retro Jordans, that were hanging on the power pole, on the power line. So essentially, those shoes belong to this hood kingpin, who nobody like messed with because he a killer and all that. Mm-hmm. So they took the King Lolo. That's his name, and like even the name is
Lolo.
Wild. So they get those shoes down, they sell them and all that, but they didn't know that they belong to this King Lolo.
Cat Williams, Lucky tried to tell him,
like
y'all in Lolo hood and yada yada. Mm-hmm. So somewhere in there, they get a phone call from King Lolo, and he's like, basically, y'all took my stuff. I need $5,200 for these shoes.
I'm like, dang.
Or I'm going to kill you. This was kind of not needed. Yeah. We already had Big Booty Bernice running around trying to get them the whole time. She come beat them up and all of that. So we didn't necessarily need King Lolo's like plot line here, but whatever. So the event is going well. They selling it. They getting all of this money. One of the interviewers shows up at the event and was like, oh, this was yours? Like, I didn't know. I grew up around here. Mm-hmm. And she tells Drew, like, we really, really liked you. Ghetto-ness aside. You were the only one that we really felt, did well. And tells her, like, we think there's a position here for you.
Mm-hmm. So there's kind of like there's some light at the end of the tunnel on that where she's like, okay, I might get this job.
She might get this job.
So that's really good.
So that's good. They have the money, and
eventually, Lolo show up.
Yes,
and he show up with these two goons or whatever, his two like henchmen, or whatever. So he's like, where my money at?
And Alyssa has the bright idea to say, look, we're not giving him all this money.
Okay, and y'all, I don't understand this because at least 2 points in this film, Alyssa has caused issues to make stuff worse. Yes. So it's like, it felt, I was watching, I'm like, is she really gonna do this again?
Are you about to sabotage everything all over again?
And like, we already went through, because movies have like this redemption arc where like the characters go through the thing where they get to that lowest point, they talk about how much they hate each other, then they make up, and now we're all good. But it felt like she was doing it again. She was I was like,
girl, you about to bring us back down again. This man showed up. We got the money. Like,
let's just pay the money and be done.
This money for him.
Yeah.
Let's just give him the money.
Let's just pay the money and be done.
But no. So she tells Dreux, girl, you distract him and I'm going to be right back. So she takes off. And Dreux was trying her best. Like, he pulls a gun out. She's like, you're not going to hurt me in front of the kids. Dudes start popping off in front of all of the kids.
Yeah.
He like, them kids.
Yeah.
Like, it was too much.
Yeah.
And so eventually Alyssa comes back. They like took off running. They start running behind them. They run away. They like hid behind some cars. And eventually you hear what you think are police show up. Mm-hmm. And they're, whatever his whole government name was, they calling him, they start chasing him. So Dreux and Alyssa, they run back into their old apartment because they're trying to like hide from Lolo. Mm-hmm. They get in there and they see candles lit everywhere. Because Keyshawn
back, y'all. He came back and he like trying to apologize because remember he had been with Bernice all day.
Big Booty Bernice all day
trying to track them down. So
now you back.
Now he back. You want to apologize? I'm sorry.
Candles.
I didn't write.
It was a pallet on the floor.
Yeah, it was.
Homeless. They homeless, ladies.
That's so funny. But yeah, he come back in there. He's trying to apologize. But then suddenly, who bursts through the door? Lolo. He see him come back in there.
Yeah.
He come in, he point the gun at him, but then thankfully they're saved because of how crappy their apartment is.
Yes.
Because the ceiling, part of the ceiling falls, hits him on the head. He's knocked out. But then in the process, when he hits the ground, he knocks over a candle. And the candle begins to light the apartment on fire. So they go in the room to go hide, which probably wasn't the best idea.
No.
But they were trying to get out the window. There are bars in the window, so they can't get out. So then they're waiting. They don't know what to do. But suddenly they hear something from the other side of the door, and there's the firefighters. They come in, they get them out.
Save the day.
Yeah, so they come in and get them out.
And so as everybody gets out and they get back in the courtyard, one of the firemen walks up to Dreux, takes his helmet off, and it's Maniac, her boo thing.
Her love interest, yeah.
So now we see why he had a small axe and stuff in his car. You have been training to become a police officer, sir. Good for you.
You mean a firefighter?
Yeah, firefighter, whatever it is. Yeah. So he comes, he saves the day. So you see them flirting and talking and all of this stuff. It's super, super cute.
Yeah, it was good.
And then Alyssa breaks up officially with homeless Keyshawn.
Yeah, she done with him.
Yes, and we kind of get this sort of happy ending, happy conclusion to everything.
Like everything sort of wraps up like with a nice bow at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they got this extra money. They eventually got into one of them renovated apartments. She has the prospect of the job. And then people are saying like, oh, with Alyssa, she should do pop-up art shows and stuff like that. So all of this stuff is already like in the mix. So they got their happy ending and they end by toasting with some flaming hot Cheeto martini.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't think I'm going to be trying that.
Yeah, no.
I mean, I'm a flaming hot Cheeto girly, but not on a martini glass.
Yeah, no, that's gross.
But yeah, that was the end of the movie. So, final ratings. What are you going to give One of Them Days out of 10?
So, going into this, knowing it as a comedy, I'm going to give it a 9. I feel like I went into it with the expectation to laugh, and it met that. It was fun. It was lighthearted. I had a good time. It was good vibes, and I don't know. It was exactly what it needed to be, and most important, especially for me, is that it didn't overstay its welcome. We was in there for an hour and a half. The audience was a good audience. They was also laughing too, so that kind of adds to the experience a little bit.
Yeah.
But like, it was good. I think for what it needed to do, it did its job, and that was it. It was just very simple, very surface level, and I didn't need like a deep story and all that. It was good. And what you think?
I am also gonna give it a 9. I can't think of much that like,
except for the Lolo part, probably.
Yeah, Lolo you could take out.
Yeah, that's like
I don't think you necessarily needed that. I think they still, anything could have happened for them to like, for the building to catch on fire and you to see that Maniac is a firefighter. So I don't think that was necessary. Like, if anything, they could have extended some of the stuff with Bernice if they wanted to.
Maybe, yeah.
But like, it's just that at that point it's like nitpicky kind of stuff. Like, no, I really loved it. I loved the vibes. I loved the feeling of it. It was funny and not corny. So yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10 too.
Yeah, 9 out of 10.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Well, you guys get out there, go to the movie theaters, watch it, come back and
tell us what you think.
Yeah, tell us what you think. Get in the comments, whether it's on IG, on YouTube. Let us know what you think about it.
Let us know.
Okay. We will see you guys in our next video.
All right. See y'all later.